Okay, we're looking at some sample questions to prepare for the Chapter 1 test. And number 1 says, name the intersection of line AL and LO. So we have line AL and LO represented here in these planes. And they intersect AL and LOs, intersect at point L. Okay, point L. Number 2, name the intersection of plane ABC. Okay, so that would be, remember we name a plane with 3 non-collinear points. A and B are on the same line, but C is not. So we have plane ABC, that's the one over here on the left side. And we have plane LOD. So if we're looking at this as a box, that would be this back side. So what is the intersection of two planes? The intersection of two planes is going to be a line. Remember that planes extend out infinitely just like lines, so the intersection of two planes is going to be a line, and that's going to be line AD. Okay, so plane LOD and ABC intersect at line AD. Name 3 planes that intersect at point O. Okay, so here's point O here, and we've got this back plane, this side plane, and the bottom. They all intersect at point O. So that would be plane LON, that's the side, and plane CNO, the bottom, and plane ALO, the back. Number 3, I'm not going to take the time to write those for number 3. Number 4, name 3 lines that intersect at point N. So here's point N. We've got line MN, we have line CN, and line NO. Okay, and remember when you name lines, you need any 2 points on a line, name a line, and you can go in any order. Line NO or line ON, line CN or line NC. So that's number 4. Name 3 lines that intersect at point N. Number 5, the midpoint of segment FG is, so we're done with this up here, the midpoint of segment FG is negative 1, 3. And then one endpoint is negative 2, 5. Find the coordinates of endpoint G. Okay, let me pause this for a second so I can write a few things down. Okay, so here you see that I have written the formula for finding the x-coordinate of the midpoint of a line segment and the y-coordinate of the midpoint of a line segment. Remember, x of m means the x-coordinate of the midpoint. X of 1 and x of 2 are the x-coordinates of the end points. So remember, with ordered pairs, your x-coordinate is the first number and of the ordered pair, and your y-coordinate is the second number of the ordered pair. Okay, so we could say like this is x of 1, y of 1, and this would be, except we're dealing with the midpoint, so that would be x of m and y of m. And then we could call this x of 1, y of 1. And then our other endpoint would be x of 2, y of 2. And it doesn't really matter which one you call x of 1 and y of 1 and which order pair you call x of 2, y of 2, as long as they're the endpoints. So all we're going to do now is we're just going to take our values that we have and plug them into our formula, and then just solve for the unknown. So with number 5, we've got negative 1. Let's start with the x-coordinates. We've got negative 1 for the x-coordinate of the midpoint, so I'm going to put in negative 1. And then we've got, for x of 1, we have negative 2. And then the other x-coordinate of the endpoint is unknown, so I'm just going to call that x, and then we're going to divide by 2. So we've got one unknown here. We need to get x by itself. The first thing we need to do is get rid of this 2 that's being divided into negative 2 plus x. So we're going to do the opposite of dividing by 2. We're going to multiply by 2. So we'll multiply this side by 2, and what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. Okay? So these 2's will cancel each other out, and we're left with negative 1 is equal to negative 2 plus x. Okay? Get x by itself, so we need to add 2 to each side, and I end up with x is equal to 1. All right. Okay, notice I failed to multiply 2 times negative 1. So 2 times negative 1 is a negative 2. And then again, I need to add 2 to each side, so x is going to equal 0. Now we're going to do the same thing for y. We'll plug in our values. We've got the y coordinate of the midpoint, which is 3. We have a y coordinate of one of the endpoints, which is 5. Whoops. And again, we need to get y by itself. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 2. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I have 6 is equal to 5 plus y over 2. Whoops, my goodness. I need to go home and take a nap, don't I? So we're going to subtract 5 on each side, and y is equal to 1. So our coordinates for point G are 0, 1. All right. Looking at number 6, the midpoint of QR is 2, 1.5. One endpoint is 1, negative 1. Find the coordinates of point G of endpoint Q. Okay, so we would do the same thing that we did for number 5, and for number 6 we would end up with 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for now.